This is the first signing day of the 2022 year. And we have Omari Evans is here today. Let's give Omari a round of applause. I would also, before we like get started, thank Ms. Dobbins and Ms. Vines for helping or really setting all this up. They did an outstanding job with Coach Shaw Moore. Thank everybody for being here because I do know that it's 2:30 on a Wednesday, right here before the Christmas break. A lot of stuff going on, but this is an extremely important event that definitely needs to be celebrated. And we've had several student athletes sign. Normally it's double-digit plus in every year just in football alone, but this is the first. This is the first that we've had that signed early, to my knowledge. It's the first we've had. And if you're not familiar with the process, the early signing date basically just started about 4 or 5 years ago. So it was interrupted a little bit by COVID. But Omari is Shoemaker's first early signee. And again, it's a great honor because now not only is he signing, but also because of his academics, he's graduating on Friday. So that also, round of applause. Okay, so before we really get started, I'm going to explain. This is pretty easy because there's just one individual today. So basically, what's going to happen is I'm going to say a few words about Omari. We normally don't do this because we don't have the time, but we will today. I'm going to allow him, if he wants to say anything, he can say something, and then we will have a signing. He'll sign on a piece of paper, and then I'm going to bring the family up, the family in the front row. I'm going to bring them up to take pictures, and then what we will do is we're going to transport this backdrop. Coaches, Coach Moore, and Coach Brown, if we could transport this backdrop to the right there up against the side by the window in there. When we get through, anybody that wants to take a picture with the backdrop or with Omari can do so at this time. And then he will give interviews. And then at that time, we will make our way to the foyer area. I believe our booster club is Mr. Burgess. Mr. Burgess in here? Okay, Mr. Burgess, we have everything set up in there? Okay, very good. So we have refreshments in there. This is 7th period. We did this for a reason because this is the testing time for 7th period. So I guess your test is make sure you're here. Make sure we do not leave until a coach that sports you or over escorts you out of here. Okay, so just a little bit of instruction to make sure we maintain campus control. So let me go ahead and get started. I met Omari when he was in middle school, and he had an injury. Was it a wrist? So he was coming off of a year, his 8th grade year, where he had an injury, and so it really kept him out of playing a good amount his 8th grade year. And so fast forward, went through the spring, and then came to Shoemaker, and he was in a class that was not a very big class as far as overall depth. But, of course, naturally, he stood out because if you're a college coach now, he definitely passes the eye test. He's going to be the right size, and, all that stuff. But what stood out to me is speaking to his mother and just speaking to Coach White. Coach White had him, both Coach Whites, Sharon White at Live Oak Ridge and Elijah White, both worked with these young people when he was in middle school, and they both said basically the same things. Really intelligent, makes good grades, works hard, does all the right things. And so, the transition that he made from middle school to high school saw those exact same things. And so almost immediately, you could just tell that he was one of the leaders on our team, and we had a really good freshman team. That freshman team, I think, how many games did we win? 8 or 9? I think we were 9-1. And so, he was a leader in that group, and then, fast forward there, he goes into basketball and then ends up running track, and I think he maybe played a little bit of baseball that freshman year, not really sure, but multi-talented individual on the field, on the court, on the track. I mean, you could see that from day one. That's a no-brainer. But what separates him from other student athletes around the state, even some in the school, is his academics. And so, I'm not sure exactly what graduation plan or endorsement that he's on, but I know he's taking is it the vet classes? Yeah, so he's taking a vet class at the Career Center. And the principal, so technically he's had 2 principals each year. This year he's got Miss Williams and Miss Porterfield. Last year was Mr. Wells and Mr. Porterfield. And everyone says, the same thing, just consistent. Now, he doesn't talk a whole lot, so that's something that, you don't have to worry about a whole lot of issues as far as, well, he talks so much in the class. That does not happen. But I will tell you this, is he definitely is very observant, because I can remember one of the first times that we installed things. I was on the board explaining. I think Coach Downs and Coach White were up there, and the retention was unbelievable. So, he's very observant and very instinctive, and it does not take, you basically tell him something one time, and boom, he understands it, he gets it. You don't have to explain that again. Those are all, kind of the qualities I picked up on, for him as even a freshman going into his sophomore year. And so again, fast forward, going into his sophomore year, had an opportunity to compete in our off season, to make the varsity and become a starter, and played a bunch of different positions. And I can remember, even when he was a freshman, we kind of moved him around, because sometimes as a coach, I don't know what he is, and so, but he was super talented, and so we tried to get him in a lot of different spots, so he was able to be more marketable, and so he could be recruited. And I remember having conversations with his mother about that specifically. And so kudos again to the family and Ms. Dorian for trusting us with coaching your son, because I will tell you that it's been an absolute honor and an absolute pleasure. Because, like I said, there's not a lot of Omari Evans is walking through your program, each and every day and each and every year. And so to trust us with your son, we definitely do, appreciate that. But back to his sophomore year, big time contributor and really made some big plays down the stretch. That year we were a playoff team for the first time in I think 4 or 5 years, and that carried over into his junior year. And we were a playoff team, there. And I can remember we were playing. I can't remember if it was Brian or was somebody. Because he played mostly defense his junior year, but we were playing somebody, and he really only had like 2 or 3 targets, and he scored twice, but just kind of busted the game wide open and allowed us, we were one step closer to clinching, playoff spot at that time. And then last year, his junior year at the end, because his sophomore year, his track season got cut short because of COVID. But last year, we just really had a monster track team, and he was a big part of that, and made it to state not only as an individual with a 24-plus foot long jump that he attained multiple times, but also was a part of our 4x2 relay that medaled at the state track meet. And in Texas, if you make it that far in track, at the 6A level, that's a big deal, and I truly believe that he helped himself not only in football, recruiting-wise and why he's sitting up here, but also in track, and that's a humongous deal. And then leading into his senior year, won the outright quarterback spot and did an outstanding job, all-district player. But really, it comes back to this, is the commitment that he made to academics is what's allowed him to sit up here. And you don't have to change colors, because as you can see, same colors. So he's going to be in the blue and white, not a whole lot of silver. But Happy Valley, I've never been there. Hopefully my plans are to catch a game up there. I've heard it's a very unique place. When he visited early in the year, because I will tell you, just like another gentleman that we have right now, I had no idea where he was going. I mean, I truly had no clue. As a head football coach, sometimes you have an idea, but I really had no clue. And then I think it was October, we had he had his reveal where he selected, Penn State, and was not shocked. I remember when he was on his visit, I said, send me some pictures, and it was Saquon Barkley. He took a picture with Saquon Barkley, which was kind of cool. But seemed to enjoy his trip, and I tell people this all the time. This is my 80th Division I athlete that I've coached, and 21 years I've been doing that. That is an absolute blessing. But I tell my student athletes all the time, in the process, you need to go where you got your pros and cons, and this is where I'm happy with, and this is where I want to be, but where you feel like it's family. And that's one thing that we've tried to build here is the family atmosphere, and he is a big part of that. And through the 2023, not just Omari, but the 2022 seniors have been a part of a lot of winning. You know, we didn't end our season like we wanted to this year, but been a part of a lot of winning at this school. And not only Omari, but the rest of this class is a big part of that. But I will say this, you can judge athletes as far as moving forward on how they make people better around them. And I can honestly say he's done a great job of making his classmates better around him. And that's a testament to him and his family and, you know, the coaches that he's had in his past. So one more time, before we really get cranked up here and start the signing process, let's give Omari Evans a round of applause.
Thank everybody for coming, and thank my parents and their family and teammates, and my parents' moms and dads also, and everybody. Thank you.
So Omari has been with me for the last couple of weeks to the middle schools, and he's spoken to several of our middle school students that are coming up, and I believe it was week before last, he and Kamari were at Palo Alto, and what they did was they spoke to every avid class that came through there, and the young people could ask questions, and then they were academic questions, they were athletic questions, they were just about high school in general. And so that's one thing when he does go to the next level is he'll be interacting with a lot of young people, and that will be looking up to him. And also, and I always say this, is understand young people that are out there. There's always somebody that is maybe a little bit younger than you that is coming up, and they're always looking. They're very observant, okay? And so they're looking to see, you know, what it takes, because they want to be the next Omari Evans. You know, they want to be the next, you know, Monterey Baldwin. They want to be the next, you know, Roy Miller, whoever, okay? And so that's a big deal. So I can honestly say that he's exemplified and represented his family in the most outstanding way, both our family and his biological family, and that also should be praised. So at this time, Omari Evans, go ahead and sign on the dotted line.